Hey, welcome back to the Verbal Tea Podcast, or welcome if you're new to this tea party. We journal here about topics, and the theme for this month is money and success. We've been discussing it from the perspective of an entrepreneur and from a life coach and creative. And today we're going to take it to another level. But before we get into that, there's a question that I've been asking for weeks. How do you define success? What dictates it for you, and how is that shaped? So I decided I wanted to share with you guys just a snippet of what I've journaled to answer some of that question. And I've got my journal here for you. I define a successful life by being able to live on my terms more times than not, that I'm experiencing a fulfillment more than dreadful obligation. If money and the pursuit of it ever becomes stronger than my ability to connect with my family and friends or myself, I will feel I failed. There are things I want to achieve that require more money, but I am keeping balance of my why and still pouring into each layer of my hierarchy of needs. So that's just a snippet. Of course, as you guys know, I talk a lot, so I went way deeper into it. But I just wanted to share that the way I define it and the way I define success is about addressing all of my needs and keeping a balance. That way, my life isn't being dictated or completely revolving around money. Again, I am Globe, and this is Verbal Tea. Hello, welcome to another tea party. Last week, we discussed financial independence with an entrepreneur. And the week before that, we discussed our general relationship with money with Harley Hendricks, who is a life coach. Today, we are going deeper and discussing our relationship with money and art and balancing it all. And I have someone who has a lot of different viewpoints because of the things that they are involved in. So they're going to give us multi-tiered perspective. This person is a filmmaker. They also are a funeral director, and they also are involved with pro wrestling. I am so excited to highlight their voice today. Let me introduce Wade Simmons. Hi,
doing?
Wade. How's it going? How are you doing?
I'm doing great actually. I wish I could use my computer, but I can go with this.
That's all right. I appreciate the commitment. Where there's a will, there's a way. And it's such an honor for you to still have made a way to be on here today. I'm so glad you're here at the tea party with us.
Glad to be here.
So, before we get into our journaling, the first thing I want to highlight is just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the audience a little bit more about you.
All right, so I'm Wade Simmons. I am an independent filmmaker, also a funeral service worker. Been doing that for 13 years, and I train for pro wrestling. I've been wanting to be a filmmaker since I was a child, so it's not nothing new to me. Like I've been doing this since I was a little kid. Like I was the one always like recording all the family events.
Mm-hmm.
I used to like to write stories and things like that. So it's kind of like first nature to me. And as far as being a funeral director, I've been wanting to do that since I was a child too. Like I know some people might think that was kind of odd, but it was just something about it as a child that I'm like, I think I can do this. So I pursued it, and it was quite a rough journey, but I was able to finally get licensed this year, so that's exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I do have a deeper question is what made you want to be a funeral director?
So for me, like I don't share this story with everybody, but it was like we went on the church convention to Kansas City, and I remember I actually like literally like started drowning. And I don't remember like if it was out of body or in body, but it's like I remember as a child said that I saw angels like fighting in the water.
Mm.
And from that, like, I think that kind of made me like not really like spooked out by it. So from then on, it's like I was like, well, I think that that's like it takes a very special person to do the job. And like when you really think about what it entails, like being a funeral director is pretty much like being an event planner. Like how people plan weddings and events is just you're planning that kind of final goodbye for someone that they love one. So like it's like to me, it's not too much different. Like even with filmmaking, right? Like when you get into like producing, directing, and writing, and scheduling events and putting together everything. Like to me, it's like it's all event planning. So to me, like to be able to bring families together, be able to like help educate people about final expenses, life insurance, just the importance of just kind of making sure that our families are well protected and stuff like that's really important to me. So that type of career to me, it never really bothered me because like let's be real, like we're all here on this temporary journey, and hopefully God willing we make it to see 70, 80, 90, maybe 100. So to me, I just think that like it's one of those jobs that kind of keeps you grounded, keeps you humble, and just keeps you realistic.
All right. Well, the next thing that I want to cover is before we get into this is a journaling podcast. So we have to know, what is your relationship with journaling?
I've been doing it since I was a child. I used to buy journals all the time, writing because when I was little, I used to want to own an amusement park. So what I
Mm-hmm.
would do is like me and my father, he used to make cartoon characters for me. So I would get like journals and like write stories down in them, or I would kind of write down concepts in them and draw things out and stuff like that. But like, and also I'm a poet too, so I used to write my poems in them. So I've been doing it
Mm-hmm.
quite a while. I kind of gotten away from it since I've gotten older because I do more like script writing and stuff. But I mean, it was part of my childhood.
Okay, so you did it a lot as a child, but now you write scripts. Do you feel that your scripts are kind of an outlet in that way for you? Do you write things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you
I
write things that are parallel with your life?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I
Mhm.
mean, one thing about being an artist, you know, everybody's different, but for me, I feel like every artist put a little of themselves in their work
Mhm.
because it's hard to take yourself out of like even if you like get hired by somebody else to work on their project, right? You're gonna bring yourself and
Mhm.
you're gonna do it in a way that only you could do it. So I mean, it's like I don't really think an artist can be separated from their work.
That's fair. I have to agree. I know that I do journal, of course, but I do put myself and my stories into the characters I build for my burlesque act. So I definitely agree that you can't really make art that's completely removed from yourself. So you don't journal that much as an adult, but you decided to journal to be on the show. How was that experience for you? How did it feel being able just to journal
It
and
was
not do scripts or poems, just journal? How did it feel?
it was actually pretty cool. Like and my wife, she's been on my case about it. Like she like
Hmm.
you should. When I told her I was going on the journey podcast, she was like, "That's good." She was like, you need to do that more often. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
admit it's I admit it's pretty fun because sometimes like anytime you get to really reflect and write, I think it's fun. I
yeah.
definitely want to get back. So I thank you for inviting me to do that.
Of course, I thank you for being able to do it and willing to do it. That is the big caveat about being on this show is it does make you have to grab a pen and paper. You have to do that and just give it a shot and see how it feels. You have a history with it, so I'm sure it just kind of just sent you back to that space, that almost like a portal. Like, oh yeah, this is good
It
to
really
reflect.
did. It really did because like sometimes like when you are doing a lot,
Hmm.
or for me rather when I'm doing a lot, you can kind of get lost in what you're doing. But I really think like constantly being able to reflect and because sometimes when you really think about things, it's like I feel like when you're just constantly going and going and going and going and going, you don't really have time to really think. But for me, like when I really sit down and I really think about something, I'm like, yeah, maybe I need to, try it this way or try it that way. Because I don't know, it's something about being able to reflect that's kind of like, it's mind blowing. I think you can get a lot of more direction when you do that.
I I agree. It helps you order your steps when you get to organize your thoughts because we don't get to do that. We're just headless chickens a lot, especially today.
Yeah.
Well, what prompts of all the prompts, I know I sent you a long list of about 7 prompts for you to choose from, and you said you were going to write on them all. Which one did you spend the most time writing?
Uh, ooh. I think the first and the second one was the most.
Yeah. What drew you to write so much about them?
Well, because the first one was like about finances, life, and balance.
Mhm.
For me, I think that's, as an adult, that's pretty much a life. Like, cause like, I don't know, like, especially with finances, because like, I'm learning a lot about them because like, in this day and age we're living in now, more things are kind of like transparent, whether it's kind of good or bad, but it's like,
Mhm.
we're learning a lot about money. Like, for me, like, even like growing up, because like me, I've always been more of a dreamer.
Mhm.
And I was very fascinated with like Walt Disney's story. But as I've gotten older, I've started to pay more attention to his brother Roy. And his brother
Mhm.
Roy was a banker. Now me, I'm this dreamer, but like, since I've kind of, been with my wife and everything, she's a lot more like, she's very adamant about like financial literacy and things of that nature. So, kind of being around that now, it kind of like gives me a very different perspective on finances, because a lot of times like you could be out here like working like crazy and like not like really, and still not like making enough, or you can take money and use it a certain way and you can kind of have a better life. Or I
Mhm.
mean, nobody's life is perfect, but I would just say sometimes you can get the most out of your money when you use it in a wise way. So it's just like, finances is something that like, I think that it's really key to learn about it, because like, especially trying to like be a business owner and trying to build generational wealth and things of that nature, you have to be very disciplined with money, but also you have to be wise with spending, and you have to be intentional about investments, and it's a lot more to it than what we think. So I think for me, like, I think that was like a really good question, because it got me thinking, like, I've been trying to do this all this time, but I should have been doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So with finding that balance, what does that look like to you? Because I know you talked about having wisdom and how you spend and making sure you're investing. Um, are you making any financial sacrifices? And how are you
A
balancing
lot.
that with still enjoying life? How do you balance those?
So for me, I was very big on investing in my film project, because I mean, I'm an independent filmmaker, so I don't, some people give me donations and stuff, and I really appreciate that. Everything helps, but for the most part, I've been using my own resources,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine, but it gets to a point where like, okay, if you're putting money into what you're doing, you need to be making some of that money back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, for me, just kind of learning how to, because again, like all of us are content creators nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are like, doing it for love and passion, and some of us are doing it for, doing it to make a little extra income. But I think if you can do both, I think that's good.
I agree. So, when it comes to balancing doing what you love because you love it and making sure that you have something to put in your pockets financially, how do you how do you balance that? How do you keep your art pure and still organic and not severe and not super influenced by profit? How do you do it, or do you not?
So for me, I think it's a yes or no, because like, I have been paid as a filmmaker. I have been like, invited to, work on other people's projects. But for me, I try to always kind of like put it like this. First, I do it because it's something that I like. Like take money out the equation. Like me,
Mhm.
the reason why I chose filmmaking and funeral service was because these are two industries that I really enjoy. So for me, because like, being in the funeral business, first thing, it's like, if a person's just doing it for the money, some people, there are some people that do it, there's nothing wrong with that because it's a business, a job. But for me, I don't think that I could probably do something that I didn't enjoy. I mean, money is one thing, but I think for me, like, I like to have excitement. Like, I like to be happy doing what I'm doing. And I mean,
Mhm.
I can't speak for everybody, but to me, if something don't feel right to me, I probably just walk away from it. Because I mean, I've have worked on other jobs with people and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I won't be back. You know what I'm saying? Like I did it to make a little extra money, but I'm like, it was nice while it was here, but I'm out of here. But I mean, but for the most part, for me, it's first I have to love it, and then the next thing is okay, how can I get paid to do what I love? So money does play a part in it because I mean we gotta eat, we gotta live. So you don't want to be like just spending all your time you know not making anything because we have responsibilities and bills and things of that nature. So to me, it's just being able to find a way to get paid to do what you love.
Okay, so you commit to what you love, and then you find a way to make money from it, but you won't do something you don't love if it makes money.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, in all honesty, it had to be like because I have no other choice.
Okay, okay. It has to fulfill another need if you're going to do
Mhm.
it. But from your baseline, you have to love it. That's your standard, your
Because I
baseline.
mean, honestly, I don't know. Like I said, I never knock another person because everybody's life is different. But for me, like I know my, and then too, like dealing with like especially on a lot of these jobs, like dealing with people, especially nowadays, is a little rough. So
Mhm.
it's like to me, if it's something that's gonna cause me like any stress or whatever, I can't take.
Well, okay. Is being a funeral director stressful at all?
It can be if you let it, but to me, I've learned this is like the one thing that I do like about being a funeral director is this is that you have to first realize, and this with anything, everybody is not the same.
Mhm.
Some people have different needs from others, but I learned that when you let people tell you what they want you to do, what they want for their loved one, and you take yourself out of it,
Mhm.
it's not so bad,
Mm.
because it's about them and their love. So
That's
we're
true.
just pretty much like the middle person, just
Mhm.
make sure everything is good, everything is fine, okay. Keep my job covered and make sure the family's happy. But if I can take myself out the way, it's good. It's only to me. I think it's only bad like when people don't like change. And
Mm.
that's with anything. But if you're willing to understand that everybody's different, every family has, because like you can service somebody and like, because like to us it may be a job, but to their family that's their love. You know,
Right.
and I don't care who we are. All of us have lost somebody before.
Mhm.
So to me it's just like just let them honor their loved one in the way that they want to do it. And never rush people. Let them take their time. You know, let them grieve. Let them do what they. Just let them, because again, it could be anybody.
Yep. That's true. It could be us. So does, and I think I put that in one of my prompts as well. How has your occupation, being a funeral director, how has that impacted your relationship with money or your philosophy on money?
Oh, it is. It's really like helped me and helped me to grow, because what I mean by that is like, first of all, understanding this, it is a business,
Mhm.
but you see both sides. We see the business side, but we also see the everyday, that average side of it too, because like we see it from both perspectives, from the worker
Mhm.
and even on the customer side, because when you think about it, right, every family's need is different, and sometimes people have money, sometimes
Mhm.
they don't. And sometimes, like, as a person, that makes you wonder, like, okay, you know tomorrow's not promised to anybody, but if I love my family enough, I want to do whatever I can to make sure that, God forbid he called me home, my family is straight, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that it's very important to me to, like, I don't have children yet, but when me and my wife do have children, and the God will, I would love to, educate them about finances and teach them to, you know, you have a right to live whatever life you want to live. But when it comes to dealing with money, use your money wisely. Like, don't use your money up trying to impress people. Take care of yourself, and if God bless you to be in a position where you can help other people, you know, do it as God leads you and things of that nature. But don't overdo it. Like, try to live comfortably, invest your money right, save some or whatever, but don't. No, I'm telling you, like, don't go out and buy all this just stuff that you really don't need. Like, be wise with your money.
Mhm.
Because honestly, I'm not a very materialistic person. Being in that business has taught me, like, okay, can't take none of this stuff with you. So
Mm.
the important thing to me is treat people right, take care of what you have to, take care of your family. And if we all have some items and things that we like or whatever, but like I learned that if you don't attach yourself to things too much, you a lot more flexible. Because like I think about, like, even with, like, owning homes and stuff like that. Like, I'm one of the people, like, I could have a home somewhere, and I might say, you know what, I want to move.
Mhm.
I'm ready to start over something new. So I learned to not attach myself to things.
Okay, I like that. So you don't when you don't attach yourself to things, it's easier to manage your money and to have a full life.
Yeah.
Did you agree with that? Okay. And I can respect that. And that makes sense dealing with that transition, us transitioning out of this world, dealing with that on the regular basis. I imagined that it would impact your whole scope on finances. So it's good to hear you talk about, oh, don't attach yourself to things. And I'm going to take that with me too. Because yes, there are so many things. I mean, now we have Amazon where we can get things tomorrow,
Hmm.
overnight. And that does make us consume with money because we're spending so much of it that we don't necessarily need.
Yeah, you'll be surprised, like, when you start, like, valuing other things that are more important. You I think sometimes you can live a lot more comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like sometimes, whether we like it or not, like, we're not in this world by ourselves. Like, and because, to be honest with you, I believe it is enough money in the world, I believe, to help people. But if we're so busy getting into debt and all this stuff, we can't even help ourselves. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that I feel like we can do a lot more if we're more free.
Hmm. And free from things. You think that that's the biggest obstacle are things for us. It's
Yeah, because I mean, even like in the entertainment industry, right? Like, even though, like, I'm in the field of entertainment, what I've noticed is, like when I was growing up, like, especially like in the rap industry, or you know what I've noticed is that, like, we have a lot of talented people, and I love my brothers and sisters. They're very talented. But what I've noticed is that a lot of times we were rapping about things,
mm,
things. And what I realized is, like, okay, you have all these things after a while, and then you hear all these stories about these people that were broke, buying all this stuff, and stuff gets repossessed. It makes you really wonder, like, okay, it's more to life than that. You know, how about being able to help your family? You know,
mm,
how about being able to do something that could benefit the community? You know, I just, I just feel like after a while, it's like, it's kind of like we kind of been sold this image that, like, after a while, it's like it really don't mean nothing.
mm,
Because, like, to me, I respect, like, people, especially those who have, like, did big things, and they're very more transparent.
mm-hmm,
Like, even like I was listening to, like, T-Pain, and I liked how he talked about his journey, about what he went through. Yeah, when he lost, money and stuff like that. Now he learned, and so now that he, got himself back on top, he said, like, now he just make, he make his money, whatever he become. Like, I'm just paraphrasing, but like I liked how T Pain was, like, really humble and transparent, share his story, and like, and he's not the only one. Like, it's happened to like quite a few people. But when you really think about it, it's like, man, like, I don't want to go out and buy all these things. Then I know I can't afford it, or I have all this money, then just blow it on dumb stuff. You know?
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I love how you just talked about music and how music feels so vapid because they are just rapping about things. Back when I know this makes me sound and feel old, but back when music was good and hit you right here, it was they were talking about experiences. They were singing about falling in love, um, or meeting friends, hanging out, getting high. That's still an experience,
Yeah,
regardless of where you stand on that recreational use. It was still an experience, and so it hit you, even if you don't indulge in that. You still vibe to
yeah,
it because, like you said, that's what life's about. It's about making that money go somewhere, not
yeah,
to something, but to go somewhere, to your people, to the betterment of your life, something that enhances your life to help you have an experience.
yeah. Because like, even with like I would encourage everybody. Like, and my wife is always on me about this, but I appreciate it now. It's like, it's crazy how, like, as a child, right, we see the world one way,
Mhm.
and we like, okay, when I grow up, I want to do this and do that. But like, as we grow older, then we start to realize, like, wow, this is what I want to do. But it's like, also, like, I never knew this and I never knew that. But it's like, it's a lot of information out here, but it's just like, we have to like kind of train ourselves to, you know, kind of not give room to like things that's not really beneficial, you know.
Mhm.
And I mean, especially like in this day and age where there's like so much stuff on social, like, honestly, like, I'm to the point now where like I use, social media to connect with people like yourself. So I thank God for that. Like, it's a beautiful thing because like on one hand it's like we get all these good connections, we get all this good information, but on the other hand it's like it can become a distraction to people at it.
Mhm. It's true.
And so to me,
Especially.
like, it's like, it's kind of good to like, if you see like somebody talking about finances, or you see somebody who's like accomplished something that like we want to accomplish, I think it's good to like really look into it. But like from what I've noticed, it's like, especially with us, because it's Black Americans. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, our people have, really dealt with some stuff. You know,
Mhm.
and like when you really think about it, it's like, we sometimes didn't have the advantages that some other people have. But I've noticed that a lot of artists, a lot of time, especially in the entertainment, they had to go to other people to, kind of get a platform.
Mm.
And then when you go to the other people to get the platform, these other people have the money, and we get a little bit of that money, but sometimes we don't use that money in the right way. So, like, to me, I'm like, I want to, by the grace of God, be somebody in my community where I'm able to help people if I can with no strings attached. I really believe in that because, like, and I also think that it's important to encourage, especially the youth, like, to, you can't make anybody do anything they want to do, but I feel like it would be nice to educate them on some of the things that we didn't know about.
Mhm.
I think that that's so important because, like, you want to grow up, but I feel like you should show them the pros and the cons of, okay, it's nothing wrong with doing this, but okay, this is what comes with it. I think really educating people about the good and the bad of a thing, I think that's a powerful thing.
Yes, we can't sell an image. We can't chase an image. Didn't expect us to land on this point, but that seems to be the theme of our conversation is image. And that's what money does. It creates a shell. And unless it's utilized effectively to your own benefit, don't chase an image, and don't fall for an image.
Yeah, that's well put. Anytime, like I don't know if you watched like the Breakfast Club, but like a while ago, Master P, he was on there and he said something that I really like. Cause like, he, like, Master P, he's accomplished so much.
Mhm.
Him and Snoop Dogg, they got the Snoop Loop cereal going, and I was really surprised when I heard Master P say, he said, "Look, I'm trying to be in the product business. I don't even really want to be in the entertainment business. I want to be in the
Mhm.
product business." And to think about, okay, to hear somebody that has accomplished so much say that, it made me realize something because, like, in the product business, what a lot of people may not know is like in the entertainment industry. I mean, it's pretty much ran by people with money. Some of them are not even entertainers. So it's like, when you really
Mhm.
think about it, it's like you said, we don't want to be chasing the image. Because sometimes when you get there, and if you don't know how to handle that, it'd be like, what is this? Oh, I thought it was this, and it's not. And so I think that it's really important for us to learn how to value where we are, and appreciate when God bless us to get to a certain level or we reach a certain financial goal. Like to always remember, okay, never forget where you came from and never try to like down other people or look down or like,
Mhm.
or try to make or think you're better than anybody. But if you're able to help somebody, then, try it.
Yeah,
And
of course.
like I said, and do it with no strings attached. Because to me, if there's strings attached, it's not really help, you know. Well, I would just say this. Know this one thing. This life is temporary. Never take it for granted and never waste time. Like patience is one thing, but I also believe that if you have a desire to do anything, learn as much as you can about it. And if you feel stuck in any situation, step back and analyze it. Don't worry about what you can't do. Figure out what you can do to change it. Because sometimes change doesn't have to be like one big change. Like change can just be in small increments. So whatever you can do to better yourself in life, go for it. And don't wait on anybody. Don't let anybody wait on you. Like make the most of time and don't let time make the most of you. But again, on Facebook, I'm Wade Simmons. Feel free to inbox me. I mean, I'm not up to anything. I talk to anybody. And you can also find my work on Vimeo as Wade Filmmaker 777 on Vimeo. And on Instagram is Wade Jedi 99.
I want to tell everyone that where you can find a Wade will be in our show notes as well as in the comments. And of course, I want to thank you all for tuning into another tea party. I hope this has been great. I hope this makes you write and reflect and talk to your friends about finances and life. And you can find us anywhere at TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Verbal Tea Time. Until the next tea party, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and keep being wonderful.